All right. Barakateh Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Hashem, Rucha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is You Can't Say You Weren't Warned. And pretty much this is just a title that came to me, looking for a lesson to get into. And pretty much that was a title that came to me, and I've been meditating on, brothers that's been laboring in this truth for a little while. And, how when you first come into the knowledge, you have your ups and downs, and this can cover a broad spectrum of stuff. So Lord's will, we can, follow the Holy Spirit, and it'll be an edifying lesson, give you, some sense of the truth, comfort, and encouragement, exhortation to continue on. Because remember, the scriptures say that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of heaven. And the thing about it is, when it comes to Great Millstone, beginning with the leadership, on down, you brothers out there and few sisters can't say you haven't been warned, because all we've been doing since we've been on YouTube and even before that is warning of things that are to come, and that is our job. We are, watchmen that's on the tower. What they do is they warn the people of things to come. Now, when we go into the book of Numbers, the 10th chapter, it speaks about making a trumpet, and it speaks about the different sounds a trumpet would make. You can blow an alarm, or you can make a call for, for the gathering of the people, or you could just make a call for the gathering of just the leadership, depending on what, the Most High speaks of. But you could also blow the trumpet as a sign of a warning for impending danger, the enemy's coming, war, so on and so forth. And we've blown the trumpet in many different ways, as a warning, And one of the things that we've warned about, besides the prophecies and the MOTB and the wars and rumors of war and this digital system that's, being implemented worldwide, is we've also warned you that you would fall out of favor with family members. You would fall out of favor with friends. You would fall out of favor with, your boss at a job, or you would lose jobs. You would lose children. You would lose, women in this truth. So it's not like brothers can say that we've never warned you. Now, it's one thing to hear the warning, but another thing, one thing to read about it, and another thing to actually experience it. And it's not an easy thing to experience. It's tough, because once you are with a woman, or vice versa, a woman that's with a man, you grow an attachment to them. There's feelings involved, emotions involved, children, same thing. And when you sever those ties, it's not an easy thing to deal with. But the thing about it is, you were warned that these things were coming. You were warned that you would suffer these things for the truth's sake. And this is why Yahweh Shai said, he that hateth not father or mother or wife or children, or his own life for my sake is not worthy of me, cannot be my disciple. So at least you could say, dealing with Great Millstone, you were warned of these things, even though it's still, hard to bear, And this is pretty much what we're set up to do. So I'm going to start off in the book of Ezekiel, take it from there. But before I do that, I'm going to look up the word watchman in the offline dictionary. It says watchman, a guard who keeps watch. And that's pretty much all it says. Let me see if they have watchmen. Nope, just a watchman. All right, somebody who keeps guard. So let me type in watchman in the blue letter Bible. It comes up, I'm sorry, in the scriptures it comes up 14 times. And what I'm going to have to do, beautiful. Ooh, wow, wow, wow. Okay, okay, okay. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start at, wow. Okay. So let's go to Isaiah 62, and then I want to go and look that word up real quick. Just bear with me. Okay, so now let's read that in Isaiah 62, and then we'll get the word, and then we'll take it from there. Because there's a couple I want to go into, because there was a couple that was pretty good. All right, so Isaiah chapter 62, and I'll start at 5. It says, "For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee." And this is what we're pretty much heralding in, which is the marriage supper of the Lamb. You know, we're proclaiming that the Lord is coming back, and through the words that we speak out here, through this knowledge, you know, we're inviting those Israelites out there to come into this thing. Right? So it goes on to say, it says, "And as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, so shall thy power rejoice over thee." Right? Because this is why the Apostle Paul said, I have espoused you to one husband, and I have to present you as a chaste virgin to Yahushua. All right? And this is what we're being groomed and prepared for. You know, it says, "I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem." Right. So now the watchmen are who? The prophets. So when we look up that word watchman, the word that you have for watchman is the word shamar, you know, which means to watch. It says to keep guard, observe, give heed. Right. Because this is the job of the prophets. Let's go real quick to Ezekiel 3:17. And it says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman to the house of Israel." See, I have made thee a watchman to the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me, because this is what the job of a prophet is. To hear what the Lord is saying, and to give, you know, the sense of what's coming. And then the Apostle Paul said it best. He said, "I have not shunned to declare unto you all of the gospel." Everything. He spoke about everything. He spoke about the perils, you know, that he suffered. You know, he told told the congregation that they were going to suffer persecutions and they were going to go through certain things. So I'm sharing my experiences with you, so that when you go through these things, you won't be offended. Yahushua did the same thing. He told him, look, they're going to cast you out of the synagogues, this and that and the other. And pretty much he told him that because, so when it happened, you know, they would know why it was happening. It didn't hit them by surprise. It didn't broadside them. You know, and a lot of you brothers out there and you few sisters, when you go through your tribulations and your trials and things of that nature, they're not broadsiding you. Like if some strange thing happened unto you, like the Apostle Peter said. You know, don't think it as if some strange thing has happened to you, this fiery trial. Because it's not broadsiding you, because you've been warned. You've been told that it was going to come. You've been told that it was going to happen. Just like the people in the world don't have an excuse. You know, these Israelites in the world don't have an excuse because they've been warned, they've been told, you know, of the things that are coming. You know, but for them in the world, they're going to be broadsided because they didn't give heed. But for you that are in the truth and the knowledge, and you're listening and you're paying attention and you're studying, this that's coming is not going to broadside you. By no means. You know, not saying it's going to be an easy thing to deal with, because it says through much tribulation we shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. So we're going to go through straits, but at least we're armed with the knowledge of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and the foresight to see what's coming before it actually comes. You know, because if you could see it before it comes, at least you can brace for it. And then we know that once we're in the thick of it, that the Lord is going to make a way for us to escape out of it. You know, and that's the main point, you know, to escape out of this hellhole, this misery, and these things that are coming. You know, let me read this precept that the brother put up. 1 Thessalonians 3 and 3. That no men should be moved. Salaki, it's a little bright out here. That no man should be moved by these afflictions. Woo, for yourselves know that we are appointed thereunto. God damn, brother, where did you pull that one out of? Hey, Barakateh, how about Shemel Shai? Right. So we were appointed unto these things. Just like Jake was appointed to be destroyed, that's why they ain't going through nothing. We were appointed to catch hell. Look, our lot is to suffer. Inside joke. That's one of Apostle Gabar's favorite movie lines from the movie Star Wars. You know, R2-D2 and C-3PO told him, our lot is to suffer. And that is the truth. But suffering is good, you know, with balance, of course, because it shapes and molds us, you know, to the characters that we have to be. You know, and if you don't go through any trials and tribulations or any distress or whatever the case may be, then, you know, you can't build. You know, like I was watching this dude, I think his title is Dr. Laura, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen this, you know, picture before. You know, he's this Edomite looking dude. He's probably a Jake. He's buffed, you know, and he's a nutritionist. You know, I believe he's a doctor. And Elder Apostle Tahar told us about him, but I had seen his picture in the, you know, in the thumbnails, but I never watched any of his videos. You know, he likes to eat junk food, but he works out, and he, you know, he takes his, you know, supplements or whatever the case may be. And he was breaking down something. Just the thought kind of escaped my mind for the moment. Yeah, it escaped my mind for a moment, you know, But if it comes back, I'll bring it back, you know. But pretty much, you know, and because, you know, like he speaks about different things, and, you know, and he warns people about stuff to take and stuff not to take, you know. But there was a point, I wish I could remember, just to make a quick point of it, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, it's, at least we've been warned. We know that these things are coming, so we can brace for it. Better than these people out here. Even Israelites that call themselves Israelites that are in the truth, in the knowledge, they're going to be broadsided by these things, because they're not going to be expecting it. Because what they're doing is, as we're warning them, they're making light of it, they're shunning it, you know, they're making mockery of it. They say, nah, you know, these things ain't gonna happen. The MOTB is not the micro C hip, you know. And, you know, if you notice, none of these other groups are warning you of the hardships that you have to deal with in this truth, you know. And they, for the most part, now they're starting to somewhat speak about Jacob's trouble and the, you know, the things that are coming, but they, for the most part, don't even speak about these things, you know. So let's go back. Salaki for the little rant. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, Keep not silence. Yeah, because we're supposed to keep warning and keep speaking about these things. Because the things that are coming, outside of, the losses that we have to take for the truth, is going to be very detrimental. For the time of Jacob's trouble is not going to be an easy thing, and the time of Jacob's trouble is going to be very detrimental to those that are not mentally prepared for the things that are coming, so they're going to be caught off guard. They're not going to have any stability, because knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy time, the strength of salvation. So verse 4 of 1 Thessalonians, well, this was 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4. It says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Right, so pretty much we have been warned. Oh, beautiful. Proverbs 22 and 3, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Right, and the simple are the ones that are oblivious to what's going on. Ezekiel 22 and 14, can thine heart endure, or can thine hands be strong in the days that I shall deal with thee? Wow. I, the Lord, have spoken it and will do it. Yeah, beautiful. Wow, man, you brothers. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So the only ones that are going to be able to endure are the elect, because they're going to take heed. Yahushua said, they followed the Lamb whithersoever he went. My sheep hear my voice and they follow me. A stranger will they not follow. So it makes sense that if Yahushua said, if you hear my voice and you take heed to me, me and my Father will come and sup with you. So if that's the case, that means that in the supping part there will be that comfort also coming from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that's what all of these admonitions and warnings are all about. It's all about warning Jake of what's coming, whether they hear or whether they forbear. Matter of fact, we're going to get into that next. Because if they hear, beautiful, but if not, then hey, that's on them. It says, let the wicked, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong verse. This is verse 7 now. And give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. So we can't relax and chill until the Lord make us a praise in the earth, till he brings back his people and establishes us once again, on the earth, where everybody, not just us that's within the circle of Israel that know about the Israelites, but the whole world knows, acknowledges, and bows their head in subservience to the Israelites, because it ain't time to relax and chill. Now you have your moments where you do that, but for the most part, we on the grind, man. This is the work. We got our, shoving one foot in front of another, taking them pickaxes and the shovels, and ripping up the grounds and, and sowing the seed, the right seed. And then here you got these jack-o'-lanterns, these ravens, these vultures coming behind and trying to eat up the seed and put and shit, in the furrows that have been planted. And then, brothers got to go back and pull that shit out and reset the seed in there, So this is what this is what our job is. Not only do we warn, but we also contend for the faith. We're defenders of the gospel, and we continually fight, for this truth. That is a part of defending the truth. That is a part of contending for the truth, dealing with all of the, the false prophets out here that are constantly trying to overthrow the truth. And Yahushua warned about this. He warned about this, that it would happen to us. The Apostle Paul, the Apostle Peter, many of the prophets and men of the Lord warned about these days that were coming, especially when we get into the New Testament, because the truth back then was under attack, and it's under attack now, by, the other nations, the Edomites, the other nations, and even by our own people. Because the scriptures say that there will be a time when, you will have, false teachers that will rise up even amongst yourselves, that will draw disciples after them, that would not spare the flock, who don't care about the flock. Why? Because they're nothing but hirelings. Hireling don't give a damn about the flock. They don't give a damn about the sheep. All they care about is themselves. All right, so let's get into Ezekiel. I want to read this one point, then we're going to jump around a little bit. Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 9, it says, "When I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein." What's that? These are the scriptures, the Bible. It says, "And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe." So these are the things that are coming: lamentations, mourning, and woe. Now there was another precept that came to me. Yep, beautiful. Let's go from there. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 28 and 8. It says, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence," because the evil day is coming. Let's go real quick to the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. 2 Timothy 3 and 1. "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." And this is the times that we're in right now. We're in the last days, and perilous times are coming. Matter of fact, let me look up two words. Let's first go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. Let's look up the word last days. Okay, so last is eschatos, where you get the word eschatology from, which is the study of the end. Extreme, last in time or in place, right? So this is not only the last days, but this is the ends of the world, because this is the Western Hemisphere as far as you could go, to the west, and then if you keep going, you're going to end up back in the east, then these are the last days, and the last days began with Yahushai. That's when the last days began. So the last days, perilous times shall come. So let's look up the word perilous. The word there is kalepos, hard to do, to take, to approach, right? Hard to bear, troublesome. See, the time of Jacob's trouble, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. Remember, it says that they shall be like madmen, sparing none. So it's going to get savage out here. The scriptures say that a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. They're still going to waste and destroy them, their homes and everything. Why? Because of the lack of bread. And you see what just happened on I-95 in Pennsylvania. And as soon as I heard of it, I thought about the disruption of all of those trucks going back and forth to bring forth, different supplies, especially food, and they're systematically doing this. Whether that actually happened, whether it just happened to happen, or whether it was man-made, it's still pushing, the Lord's agenda forward. Because we're in perilous times, and then you're gonna have wars, rumors of wars. You're gonna have pestilence, which are these plagues, which are these diseases, and then the whole situation that just happened with the casting of the demons, with the fire, the so-called fire from Canada, the smog, that smoke, the polluted air that was all up in New York. It was in Connecticut also, in Jersey, I believe it was, down in PA. All of that, can bring a lot of destruction and a lot of health problems to people. And another thing I thought about was when that happened, if you notice, the sun was blocked out for a couple of days. It was dark as fuck. you know. And this is one of the plans that these devils, Kill Bates has and others, is to, spray the atmosphere to block the rays from the sun, because they know that the rays from the sun, which provide vitamin D, is very beneficial for the body. And there are different ways you can get vitamin D. One by the sun, other by food, and others by supplement. And I was listening to Dr. Laura, and I believe his title is Doctor, and he was saying that it's best to get it in those three, not just one way. Those three: the sunshine, the food, and the supplements. It's best to do it that way. There's not just one way of doing it. So they know this. So they're trying to block out the sun, because they're trying to, block out one of the main vitamins in the body that the body needs to stay healthy. So let's go to Ezekiel now. Let's go to the first verse of the second chapter. It says that he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And this is the job of the prophets, to stand upon their feet and wait for the Lord to speak and what he's going to show them. And it's amazing how these false prophets would deny that the MOTB is the micro C-hip when all the evidence is there, and the Lord is warning that these things are coming. And the Lord said specifically, don't take the MOTB. If you take the MOTB, you will be destroyed. So the Lord said, don't take it. Back when the Apostle John wrote that technology did not exist back then. The whole system, infrastructure, the whole technology, the actual device, the delivery system, the being able to put records online, that didn't exist back then. So if it didn't exist back then, and the Lord said, don't take it, and he says he reveals the secrets unto his servants, the prophets, so eventually he would give the prophets the knowledge of what this thing is so that it can be avoided. Because how is the Most High gonna say, don't do this, or don't touch that, or don't accept this, but he never identifies what the this is? Are we supposed to just, guess what it is? No. If he says don't do something that displeases me, you best believe he's going to identify what that thing is. And that technology didn't exist back then. So it makes sense now that the Lord will bring that out. It makes sense now that the Lord would identify what this thing is. Because it's impossible for it just to be sin, because sin has existed since the Garden of Eden. So it's not just that, It is a sin, but sin is not the MOTB. It's an actual thing that you're going to receive. Right? So it goes on to say, and the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me. And this is the key. The Spirit entering into the prophets is what? The inspiration from the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for them to give the warning of the things that are coming. Because the Lord will give the prophet the proper understanding of what's coming, to warn the Israelites of what's coming, so that they can be prepared. He's not going to tell them, don't do this and don't do that, or this is coming and it's not going to come. Have the Lord spoken, and shall he not make it good? He's going to identify what it is that he is displeased with. It says that I heard him that spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. For they are impudent children, and stiff-hearted, meaning impudent, meaning that they're not wise. bunch of dummies. Matter of fact, there's a precept here, number 2 on verse 4. It says, or hard of face. It says, they and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. That was back when that was about 2,700 years ago or so, roughly, give or take. You know, so, but even unto this very day, today, in 2023, June of 2023, it's the same thing. You know, the Israelites are still hard-hearted and stiff-necked. You know, still hard-hearted and stiff-necked. For they are impudent children and stiff-necked. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord power. Because at the end of the day, what the Lord said to do is what's going to be done. Now these other individuals are putting Jake back to sleep. That's why the Lord said that they have not built the hedge around Jake for the things that are coming. They're not preparing Jake for the day of battle. So that they can be mentally prepared for the perils that are coming. Because it starts with the warning, and it starts in the mind. If you know something is coming and you have the knowledge of it, at least you can brace for it when it comes. That's why the Lord called them a bunch of dumb dogs. Let's get there real quick. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 10. It says, his watchmen. Whose watchmen? These fake false prophets. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. What is a dumb dog? A dog that cannot bark. They cannot bark. Sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. So they can't bark because they are not warning. Because they are not endowed with the Spirit of the Lord did not enter into them. The spirit of Satan entered into them. That's why you have these so-called pastors in the church that can't warn the people of the things that are coming because the Spirit of the Lord is not entering into them. And even among these false prophets among Israel, they can't warn the people because the Spirit of the Lord has not entered into them. This is why every time, you know, we make videos on the MOTB, now all of a sudden you have IUIC, they're trying to counter every time we do videos on that. And trying to push that bullshit that the MOTB is sin. That if you take it, it is a sin, but it's not sin in general. It's fucking amazing. It says, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. And that's why the scriptures say, a gift destroyeth the heart. You know, don't accept the bribes, this extortion. You know, or the bribes and the gifts, because it destroys the heart. It destroys the ability for a judge to judge. This is why you have the response, you know, the clergy response team. This is why you have the gatekeepers for Esau, which are leaders among Israel that are teaching them the wrong thing. This is why the Lord said that the leaders of this people cause them to err, meaning to commit error, because they're taking bribes. They're blinded, you know, and all they do is tell the people the opposite of what's coming. You know, they teach them about prosperity. They teach them about, you know, good times, you know, laid back. They're pretty much putting them back to sleep. And the Lord's going to deal with them for that. It says, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone to his for his gain from his quarter. So if they all look to their own way, that means they don't know the ways of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So how can they give warning when they don't know the way of the Lord? So going back to Ezekiel 2 and 5, and they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. Right, because eventually the true prophets are going to be known. Then shall you return and discern between him that serveth the Lord and him that serveth him not. Everything is going to be made manifest. The world is going to know who the true prophets are, who the false prophets are, what the true message of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is. The whole world is going to know. And as we're progressing in this world, everything is manifested, including you brothers that have been laboring in this truth for a while. You're starting to feel the crunch. You're starting to feel the loss of your loved ones. You're starting to feel the loss of jobs. You're starting to feel the pressures that come with teaching this truth. That's why you have, the parable of the sower seed. And I was watching the brothers out there in LA. The brothers Ayan. I believe the other brother's name is Banyamyan, if I'm not mistaken, and other brothers out there. And there was this one Jake that came up and he was listening. He knew, he acknowledged, that the Most High, he had a zeal of the Most High. But what happened was, as the brothers were breaking it down to him, he was trying to leave because he had stuff that he had to do. And the brothers Ayan said, nah, man, you can't leave. Not that he said he can't leave, but he said, hold up, let me, because they were telling him and warning him, Satan is trying to pull you away from the truth. And they were warning him. And eventually he left. But the whole exchange, the scripture that came going through my mind was the parable of the sower seed, that some fell by the wayside. And the ones that fell by the wayside is that they heard the word, but then cometh that wicked one, which is Satan, and taketh out that which was sown. And eventually he ended up leaving because he's not meant to receive this. And they told him, look, you're going to remember this day. And they're right, because when the time comes, he's going to remember what the brothers told him, and he's going to wish he listened, but it's going to be too late. All right, so going back, so our job is to warn and let them know, and that's it. Our job is not to try to twist somebody's arm to get it, to hold them hostage. Our job is to teach the word. If they get it, beautiful, hopefully they'll continue on. But if not, they're going to be destroyed. And that is the whole message of the Lord. It says, verse 6, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee. Yeah, because, Jake talk that talk, but the Most High is the one that got the hedge up. He's keeping them at bay. And I've seen times when people wanted to do us harm, and how the Lord just turned them people away, and that they couldn't do the things that they wanted to do. They were coming up in a rage, and then all of a sudden the Spirit made them go the opposite way. It says, and thou dost dwell among scorpions. So we're dealing with briars and thorns and scorpions. The greatest people on the planet are the Israelites, and the worst people on the planet are Israelites. Ain't that about a bitch? That's true. I find that truly amazing. Inside joke. That shit is crazy when you think about it. The greatest people on the planet Earth are the Israelites, and the worst people on the planet Earth are the Israelites. Wow. Wrap your nugget around that one if and then you can. Wow. Just bear with me 1 second. I want to just check something out. I wanted to use a particular word, but I didn't want to sound like I didn't know what it was, so I want to make sure I look it up before I commit. Because when in doubt, whip it out. Right, I was correct, but I wasn't sure. I was going to say, the dichotomy of that. which the word dichotomy is being twofold. A classification into two opposed parts or subclasses. You know, but I didn't want to say it because I was almost positive, but you know, sometimes you got to be sure. You got to be sure because it's worth a Google, even though I went on the, you know, offline dictionary. So that's a hell of a dichotomy, man. Jake are the greatest people on the planet and the worst people on the planet. Wow. Wrap your nugget around that one. You know? That's fascinating. Alright, Salaki for that. So there's scorpions, briars, and thorns. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Right, because at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to do, because that's what they do. And remember, in the book of Peter, it says that they were appointed to this. Just like the prophets were appointed to prophesy, just like the elect were elected to do the work or do whatever they're supposed to do to get delivered, so the 2/3 and the rest of the Israelites around the world that are going to be destroyed are appointed to do what they do, so that the Most High would be justified in destroying them. And that was the point that I was trying to make earlier, is that the Lord, if He tell you not to do something, He's going to identify what it is that He don't want you to do, and if you do it, that'll give Him the justification to destroy you. See, the Most High is not unjust. You know? Even though this is a rigged game, the Lord is not unjust. He's righteous in all His ways. So He's going to make sure that He identifies what it is that we are not to do, and that is the MOTB, which is the micro C-hip. It says, and thou shalt speak my words. See, that's the point. Thou shalt speak my words. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of the Most High. Why? So that we may be justified in our sayings and overcome when we are judged. That's why. It says, unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. And that is the point. Because when we speak these words, it's in the ether. You know, Yahushua said if He had not come, then they would have had no sin. But now they have no cloak for their sins. Now they have no other recourse, no other remedy. Now they've been sealed. Their fate has been sealed. So if they don't take heed, they don't do the things that are pleasing unto the Lord, then they will be destroyed. But the point is, we're supposed to warn them whether they listen or not. And you were warned. You can't say you weren't warned. It says, but thou son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. And what are we supposed to eat? We're supposed to eat this roll, which is what? The whole book. And when you eat the whole book, then you go out and speak to the nation of Israel, which we're going to get into that. That's the next chapter. You know? And this gives us all of the instructions that we need. You know? It gives us a sense because we've entered into other men's labors. They through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, have instilled, you know, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Most High has given to them to give to us. And now we, in turn, are taking that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and throwing it back out to you that are out there listening, for the sake of either to be delivered or to be destroyed, to be, you know, geared up and mentally prepared for what's coming, girded up, you know, the spiritual arsenal of the Lord, to be ready for what's coming, or to be naked out there and be destroyed. That's it. There's no in-betweens. There's no ifs, ands about it, no in-betweens in it. You know? It's cut and dry. So Ezekiel 3:1, it says, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll. And this is the same thing that the Most High told John the Apostle. You know? Eat the book. It's going to be sweet, but it's going to turn bitter. And some of you brothers now are starting to experience the bitter. And some individuals, when they taste the bitter, they're like, oh no, I didn't sign up for this. And they hit the back door. You know? Or the side door or the window. You know? But some brothers that already knew it was coming, they've already braced for it. So now that they're in it, it may not be the easiest thing to deal with. You know, they wish they weren't going through that. But at the end of the day, that's something that we have to go through. I read something somewhere where it says when something makes you uncomfortable, it means it's building up your patience. You know? Strength doesn't come by way of easiness. Strength comes by way of hardships. You know? Strength comes by way of trials and tribulations, hardships. You know? I had a title that I wrote down. I can't get it right now. But I can't remember the title right now. But it's something I had told Apostle Gabar when we were leaving camp one day. He said, hey, you know, that's a title for a lesson. So I wrote it down. You know, but hardships, you know, strength doesn't come through an easy life or through easiness. Strength comes by hardships, by trials, by tribulations, you know, by being exercised in an uncomfortable position. You know? Nothing that has to do with strength ever came easy. It always came with a struggle. It always came with, you know, the hardships and the miseries and the burning fire of affliction. The Lord said that he chose us in the furnace of affliction, you know, for the purpose of building us up and making us his jewels. So it says, eat this roll and go and speak, and go speak unto the house of Israel. And that's exactly what we are doing, and that's what we're commanded to do. It says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat the roll, and he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels, meaning your mind, with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness, right? Because when you find out about the truth, it is very sweet. You know, especially when you find out, you know, that the position that we're in it because we sinned against the Lord, but there's going to be a reward. We're going to be rewarded the kingdom of heaven. We're the Israelites. We're the favorite people of the Most High, even though sometimes it don't feel like it, you know, but we get that understanding. But then once you progress, you notice that the closer we get to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the more them demons plague us and fuck with us, you know? And these are also other things that we warned you about, you know, and then the bitterness comes in. This is why Asaph in Psalm 73, you know, said he was weary because he saw the prosperity of the wicked. He saw how they were doing good, you know. He saw that they were no good, they were ungodly, and how they still prospered, and how he was trying to tell other Israelites about it, and how they were giving him a hard time. You know, they were looking at him like he was bugged out. And he said that he pretty much was at the point of fainting. He said, until I entered into the sanctuary of the Lord, then understood I the end. He said, so the miseries are hard. It builds us up, gives us strength, you know, and the knowledge of the truth is what gives us that stability to deal with situations when they come our way. All right, so it goes on to say, verse 4, and he said unto me, Son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou, right, speak with the Lord's words. Notice that the Lord keeps saying, speak with his words, so that we may be justified. For thou art not sent unto a people of a strange speech and of an hard language, but to the house of Israel, to the Israelites, right? Not to many people of a strange speech and of an hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. And really, you know, this is really dealing with the Israelite foreigners. I'm gonna prove that. You know, even though, like, if you was to speak to the other nations, they're not into the Most High, man. These nations are not into the Most High. They're into money. You know who their Most High is? Money. Let's go to Isaiah 65:1. It says, I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name. These are dealing with the Israelite foreigners. You know, and this is why when the Apostle Paul went to them Israelite foreigners, they accepted the word gladly. When the Apostle Peter went to Cornelius and them, they accepted the word gladly. They were happy. Did not in the Acts the 13th chapter, when those Israelite foreigners, which were being called Gentiles, you know, heard the word, they were happy. You know, they couldn't wait for the next time the apostles were coming up to teach them. They were ecstatic, you know, inside joke, but they were. God damn, man, all these goddamn ants, you know, they were excited. But you know, the ones that knew that they were Israelites, they weren't trying to hear this. And we're having the same issues today. So it goes on to say, let's see where we left off at. Verse 7, Ezekiel 3:7. But the house of Israel would not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Right, and they are hard-hearted. But the Lord is busting through those hard-hearted strongholds with his truth and the inspiration from above. It says, behold, I have made thy face strong against their face, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant, harder than flint, have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Why? Because eventually the Lord is going to judge them. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thine heart, and hear with thine ears, and go get thee to them of the captivity unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, thus saith the Lord power, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. Now, notice he keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of great rushing, saying, Blessed be the glory of the Lord from his place. I heard also the noise of the wings of the living creatures, which is what? The angels, that touched one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, which are the chariots, and the noise of a great rushing. We got to start bringing this one out. It says, so the Spirit lifted me up and took me away. Wow. So he went on a ride on the chariot, and I went in bitterness in the heart, in the heat of my spirit. Yeah, because of this, of you know, the intense things you got to go through, especially when you're correcting somebody that doesn't want to be corrected. You know, it says, but the hand of the Lord was strong upon me. So let me see, number 7. There's a precept for 14. Hot anger, right? So he was bitter and in hot anger. It says, then, yeah, it says, and the Spirit of the Lord and the hand of the Lord was strong upon me. Yeah. It says, then I came to them of the captivity at Tel Aviv, that dwelt by the river of Kibar, and I sat there, and I sat where they sat, and remained there astonished among them 7 days. And it came to pass at the end of 7 days that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the words at my mouth and give them warning from me. And this is what we're supposed to do. And that's why you can't say that you haven't been warned. We've warned you on all levels. You know, we've covered everything possible through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that the Lord gave us the inspiration to. You know, just like Yahushai said, you know, you will go through perils, you will be brought before governors and leaders for testimony against them and the Gentiles. You know, you will be brought into to the councils. You know, you will be betrayed by father, mother, sister, brother. You know, you're going to have problems. You're going to lose family members, you know. Who is my mother, who is my brother, who is my sister, but they that do the will of my Father, you know. So we knew, they knew back then, and we know all of these things now. So we've covered all of these things. You know, we told you, brothers, about these things. So that helped you mentally prepare, not only by reading it, but also by experiencing it, which is where the strength comes in, you know. So you can't say you weren't warned.